This is the official podcast of the man behind RD Cinto Inc., real estate maven, visionary, community man, Bob Cinto. Each episode of the Let Me Be Your Landlord show will feature lessons learned through experience, all delivered with the humor, wisdom, and the straightforward nature that our host is known for. I'm John Iannuzzi, and Park City Productions is proud to present this podcast before he became a leader in Connecticut corporate real estate with close to 4.5 million square feet, 50-plus buildings, and an occupancy rate of nearly 98%, which is well above national averages. The Cinto story started in the Park City with a family-run plumbing business. What takes place over the course of the next 6 decades is what we will focus on here on this program. Special episode because in radio we call this kind of the listener all request hour.
Okay, fine.
Okay?
Right.
And we created an email. It's letmebeyourlandlord@gmail.com.
Okay.
And we asked for questions and we got them.
All right.
So, but first, some new reviews. On Apple Podcasts, a subscriber wrote, integrity, service, and truly caring for others. I've known of Mr. Cinto as a town resident for over 30 years. He's so well known for who he is. He truly shines the love of Christ and is evident in these episodes. While he's a smart businessman, I pray that people understand who he is at his core. Wow.
That's big time.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, fantastic.
So before we get to the mailbag, I've noticed on social media that you're having a busy summer.
Yes.
What's going on? What are the Cinto tenants experiencing this summer here at Corporate Drive?
Well, we to begin with, we do the boat trips. You know, I do 2 a week. I did 3 this week. I did 3 in a row, in fact. And what happens is sometimes, you schedule 2 and then you get a rain out and then you have to slip it in. So now you do 3. Lemon Ice, Italian Ice on Thursdays. Our tennis program is a very big hit. We have a tennis pro that is probably the best pro in the country, I think. And we give free tennis lessons. I built that tennis court, no one was using it, okay?
I was going to ask you
right?
about that.
So I said, how am I going to get people to use this court? Well, let me get someone to teach people to play tennis. And he gave my daughter a tennis lesson, and Katie said her legs were like rubber at the end of an hour and a half. So that was very encouraging. We got the picnic coming up, that's end of August, which is only a month away now, and then the carnival. So we have a lot of things going on this summer.
Summer Thursdays, tenants enjoy a sunny stroll around the fountain with free Michelizzi's Italian Ice,
Right.
and as you mentioned, a stop by the farmer's market to buy beautiful flowers, local farm fresh produce. What about the basketball league?
That's going to full blast. And I think we have 16 teams in. There's a 3-on-3, and then the winning team. The championship game is always played the day of the picnic, and the winning team goes on vacation, and the losing team gets a dinner at El Barrio.
I want to talk more about the end of summer, but let's not rush it. Looking at social media, who's been on the boat? Why don't you shout out some of the
just
tenants
tenants.
that you've had?
I got 400 tenants, so we can't
Yeah.
take everyone on the boat, okay? But I try to take tenants so the Recovery Network is a group of people who work with people, methadone clinics, all right? The people work their guts off at that company. They're trying to help people who have real demons. So each year, I take them out on the boat, as a little, that type of a thing. And I try to take out tenants that are new tenants. And it's very, very informative for me. Last night, I heard about a guy named David who's a janitor, who cleans windows in Tower 2. And he's always holding doors for people. He's always working, right? So my mission today is to go find him and thank him. I would have never known that if I didn't take the tenants out, So and then the tenants mentioned other people, So it's a great opportunity for me to meet the people who work in the company, show them what we do, how we do it, and service and everything. And at the same time, it gives me information about people who work for me that I have no other means of getting. So it's very effective. Good time to use of time.
And obviously, summer, it's a little easier to do.
Well, yeah,
this.
I usually do this at 3:30. Okay, now 3:30. At 3:30, I'm killing myself. I don't get back to around 6:30. I got to watch the boat. I don't get home till 7:30. So I said, enough of this, So I changed the boat trip to 1:30. Now I'm home at 5:30. Okay, that's more reasonable. But John, more important than that, I can do the whole month of October. Because if you go, and October is a great month to be on the water. So if you go out at 1:30, you still got light at 5:30. So it's a better program. I get more trips in.
The thing I always liked about October was the harbor was a little less busy.
Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful month on the water.
July is rough.
Yeah, fantastic.
Your July newsletter, you mentioned that Tower 1 almost completely re-rented.
Yeah.
It's been a busy 18 months here in Shelton at Corporate
Oh,
Drive.
my. When you think that we've rented 400,000 feet in the last 18 months, that's a miracle.
How'd you do it?
Well, it was just, a lot of hard work. My son's done a fabulous job, bird dogging tenants and getting people out here. We're kind of lucky we're the only real game in town. I mean, we have 14 carpenters. We have 3 architects. If you come to our office, we can do the design, we can do the build out, we can do the permits. We do everything in-house. We do legal in-house. So we can, we're streamlined, 40 years of doing the same thing. So we have a totally different approach. I had a major tenant in here the other day, and we're talking about finishing a job and timing. And the point was, one of my people made a point, said, listen, if we were a regular general contractor, we would have stopped this job, until this got resolved, because and our general conditions and everything else. We don't do those things because we're looking for a 15-year relationship with you. We're not. So it is a wholly different program. Every time, to be honest with you, every time I did a job for someone as a third-party job, as a general contractor, I lost money. Okay, I lost money. Sometimes I lost a lot of money. I lost $3.5 million in one job. Okay, so from now on, when I have nothing for my people to do, they go to the Four Seasons Hotel in Hawaii for a month. Okay, it's cheaper for me to send them there than it is for me to bid a job.
Is 15 years the average? Is that the number in your head?
No, that was just a long-term lease because there's so much work involved.
The heading under your logo on the newsletter, by the way, says, whatever it takes, 24/7, 365.
Right, that's the name of my boat, whatever it takes.
Words to live by?
Oh, sure. I have a wonderful guy who works for me. He's the whole spirit of this company, Joe Delco, okay? And when I bought my first boat, I go, what should we name it? And Joe says, Bob, name it whatever it takes, because every time I ask you about a tenant, what they want, I say whatever it takes. So that's how we got the boat named, whatever it takes. And the boating, just really quick, the boating came about. I never owned a boat in my life. Okay, and I had a very major tenant. And I took this tenant to play golf. And it would cost me $6,000 for the day to take him to play golf.
For a round of golf?
Yeah, because I rented a plane to fly to Long Island. Okay, all right. He was losing, and he was so upset at me that he was losing. He wasn't talking to me. Mm-hmm. I said, I need this like a hoe in the head. Of course, I threw the match, and he won. All of a sudden, I'm the greatest landlord in the world. But after that, I said, John, I've got to do something different. I said, let me try boating. And the problem with me in boating was I was dyslexic. You understand? So now you have the throttles, starboard and stern. Now you got to push one way, push the other one another, and when you're dyslexic, you're like, I mean, I actually docked the boat 200 times by myself before I took anyone out. So, but I learned to get the boat into neutral, stay in neutral, and then make a move. So
So as I mentioned, we asked listeners to send in questions, and we have several that I'd like to pass along to you, our esteemed host.
Okay.
The first one, this gentleman said, this is a very timely topic. He said, great job on the podcast so far, Bob, really enjoying. He loved the PPG story. That's the one where you call.
I want to correct something here on PPG. Okay. You know, the way we do these podcasts, John doesn't give me any questions beforehand. I don't want any. I want it as natural as possible. So sometimes you'll go back 50 years or 55 years to find names, okay? So the names on that I need to correct. Number one, Mr. McIntyre was my homeroom teacher.
Okay.
Mr. Morris was my economics teacher.
Okay.
And McElroy was the PPG gentleman.
Exactly. The one who answered the phone.
Who answered the phone. It was so because I believe I said Mr. McIntyre. Mr. McIntyre was my homeroom teacher and just a great person. You know, he was from England, but he was the first time he showed me a custom-made suit. He goes, you know how you know it's a custom-made suit? If you can unbutton the cuffs.
And
he unbuttoned the cuffs on the suit.
Okay.
Then you know it's custom made. Because if it wasn't, you couldn't unbutton. So I want to give Mr. Morris and Mr. McIntyre. I want to give I don't think they're with us anymore, but I wanted to correct their names.
They're kin.
Go ahead.
And thank you, by the way, for not making me submit questions beforehand.
Okay.
I think it.
No, I don't want any
be an
questions. Injustice, no,
yeah.
Just make it as natural as possible. Go ahead.
So this email, I wonder if you had any thoughts or warnings about AI. So much talk about artificial intelligence. Have you implemented any AI at any of your properties? Why or why not?
Well, it's hard to believe. It's hard for me to believe that a piece of equipment is going to take the place of the human heart and the soul. Okay, I just don't believe it. So. You know, you need that interaction among people that's true and honest. And I'm not afraid of that.
I just can't imagine with now 5, episodes in and how you describe how the deals are made on such a personal level.
Yeah.
I don't understand how, software could ever.
No, then software is never going to do this job.
Our next email is from a woman who did not want me to use her name.
Okay.
She said she's a tenant at 6 Research Drive.
All right.
She loves the farmer's market on Thursdays. She just wishes it was open later. It closes at 2.
I'm sorry,
Just passing along the email. Wait, listen. We opened up the email.
I'll pass that on.
Next email, Pat Carino. What is the number one amenity that impresses prospects when they initially tour?
I think the gym that we have a spectacular gym. You go down there, it's like 7,000 square feet of equipment. Everything is spotless. You don't have people dumping 50-pound barbells on the floor. You have professional help. The imagery is terrific. And at the end of the day, everybody wants to meet somebody at the end of the day. Okay? And so when people come and see that amenity, and our gym is busy, it's not like other people's gyms, office gyms, when you open the door and you see one room with no one in it and some dust on some equipment. Our gym has activity. We have trainers, that teach you how to use the equipment. So I think when people see that and they say, maybe if I come here, I can meet somebody. It's subconsciously, it's I think a great amenity. I think the way we keep the place so clean, the flowers, 7,000 flowers, the granite curbing, and then I think the biggest thing we have going for us when we try and rent space, when we simply say, call any one of our tenants and ask for a reference. And we have 400. We're not going to tell you which one to call, just call anyone. So I think those are the reasons. The amenities, I think, was a health club, the grounds, service, those type of things.
What does a tour consist of for potential tenants?
Well, we show them, if they come up here, we show them the Renaissance, which is the apartment building, which is right on campus. which I absolutely love. When you can have people walking dogs around, pushing kids around the office park, it has a whole different image to the park.
Looks like its own city.
Correct. Now, in that building, we have a health club in that building. We have a swimming pool in that building. I think we're the only building in Fairfield County that has a 24/7 doorman. Okay, I think the lobby is finished at the Four Seasons Hotel lobby in Manhattan. So that we show that. Then we show the maintenance where my daughter works over there, and we show how we respond to calls. All our trucks have GPS, so that if we know where every truck is. So if you call in from a building, we know the closest truck. We get the mechanic there too. So we explain the air conditioning and all that. We walk down. We show the medical building on the way down, which is Corporate 4. It's all medical. Show the health club, the auditorium, the Bikram yoga, the daycare center, El Pollo. Then I show them the tennis court. So we get, it's about a good half an hour before they even see you in the office space.
You mentioned the grounds. The statues are constantly, and the art installations are constantly maintained. I saw on your social media that, was it the Sudan the rhino statue just received?
Yeah.
And overall, what's the story with that installation, with that piece?
I bought it in Italy. I bought it because my wife loved it, to be honest with you. Okay. And I loved it too. And the patina was not a quality patina. It's because it began to come off. So I had to have it repainted. So I had a very good artist friend that gave me a color. So I went with the color. And some people like it, some people don't. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But I'm working on another great sculpture now. We've got another Vitruvian man that we're going to do. That's going to be 13 feet, 6 inches.
You teased that in our last episode. Yeah. Can you tell us more?
Well, I'm getting to the point of we're doing the designs. I don't want to talk too much about it. But it's going to be a terrific sculpture. But that's all I can tell you.
Our next, and maybe on some of that, our next email from J.P. Blythe. I've been listening to your podcasts, really enjoyed the honest and casual conversations about your life's journeys. 2 questions. My first is a business question. How have you over the years hedged against down markets and real estate bubbles after 2008? Were you impacted negatively, and were there lessons learned?
Okay. Do you have a second question? Is that
the second question? You want the second question now?
Yeah, just so I can know.
Second question, more personal. You've obviously traveled extensively in North America and abroad. Just wondering why Florence stands out as your special city. Okay. Would have loved to hear more about that on your previous podcast.
Okay. The downturn in the business, okay. 1990, I think I told you in the past, was the worst year of my life, okay. And I woke up one morning and I was losing $500,000 a month. I was in a hole for $62.5 million. I owed $7 million to vendors. I had 365,000 square feet of empty space. And my real estate was 50% underwater, meaning that if I owed $10 million on a building, it wasn't worth $5 or $3 million. So that's the hole I was in 1990. Okay. What you have to do in this business is to get out of debt. You have to pay off your mortgage. Do you know what the word mortgage translates to from Latin? It means pay until death. Okay, all right. And most real estate developers will get a 25-year mortgage. You know what that means, right? 25 years. But and then it has a 10-year call, meaning that the bank could ask for the money back in 10 years, right? And the reason is that they don't know what the inflation is going to be, so they'll put money out for 10 years. You can pretend you pay it back for 25, but we want it back in 10. Okay. Now, at the end of 10 years, what percentage of the loan do you think you still might owe on the loan? What percentage? The answer is 92%. So you've been paying for 10 years and you still owe 92%. Now, you know what most real estate developers do? They go back and they refinance it. They get another 25-year mortgage with 10-year call. because that's your greatest cash flow. They borrow a few extra points to pay for the legal fees and closing expenses, and they start all over again. They never pay off the debt. And the reason that they don't pay off the debt is that from a tax point of view, when you're paying off the debt, Uncle Sam is calling that ordinary income. And they want 42% in taxes. So, I pay a lot of money in pay down every month. I'm going to make up a number. It's more than this, but I'm going to make up a number of $1 million, okay? So I may pay down my loans $1 million a month, but Uncle Sam says, where's my $420,000, Bob? So most developers don't do that, okay? After 1990, which is 33 years ago, I began to pay off my buildings. And the reason why we're such a successful company today, we don't have a lot of debt on any of our buildings. And that's the difference. But most people won't do that because they pay so much tax money. That's why. I like to tell people I'm an Italian, understand? So my DNA says if I don't own the land, I can't grow the grapes.
I've heard that before.
Okay, so that's, and the other principle, and this might be a little complicated, but once you pay off a building, you're no longer in the real estate business. You're now in the financing business. You're now a banker because you're getting a retail return on your equity. Like if I have a building with no debt on it, if I had to go out and borrow money, I got to now pay 8%. Well, I'm earning that on my own. You understand? So you go from being in the real estate into the financing business.
So basically you're saying get past the initial discomfort of having to...
You got to pay your debt off.
Yeah.
You can't be successful with debt. Period. Because you can't weather 2008. You can't make the improvements that we have to make in these buildings on a regular basis. I'm down in Fairfield right now. I bought a building in Fairfield. One of the few buildings I bought. The person who built the building was cheap, so he put cement block on the outside of the building, okay, instead of brick, because it's cheaper. The block sucks in water. The water gets to the lintels. The lintels rust, and the block falls off the building. Now I'm going for $2 million, $3 million to repair the building, okay? So if you're not in a financial condition to pay that kind of money, what do? Okay, so that's why you have to pay your debt.
Quick question about what you just mentioned. In a situation like that, I'm assuming that you saw this before you bought that building?
No.
Are there unpleasant surprises?
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't buy buildings. I mean, the 52 buildings I own, I probably bought 3, and that's one of the 3. I bought that building because of its location, downtown Fairfield. Going back to the other question the gentleman had about Florence, why I love Florence. It's just the thought of walking around streets that Leonardo da Vinci walked around. The Michelangelo walked around. One November, we always go there in November, me, my wife and myself. We were walking through the streets. And, with the lanterns and the lights, it was night. But it was snowing. Very rare does it snow in Florence. And just to walk down those streets while the snow and the lighting, it was magical. And Florence is a very, very special city. The food is out of this world. There's so many wonderful things to do. And the countryside of Tuscany is the best. The best.
What trips do you have coming up?
Well, we're going to go back to, I always go to Italy for Thanksgiving, and this year I'm taking my 3 daughters with me for a couple of days. And I go each year for our anniversary. I take my wife, just the 2 of us, we go up to Nantucket for 5 days. So we take the boat up, and we have a great time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Bikram before. We got a nice email from Yogativity. Thank you so much for mentioning us on the last episode. I'm loving the show so far. I'll definitely share this with my friends. Hope you guys are great. Thanks again, Zoe.
Okay. She's terrific.
The email address, by the way, for people who want to send in their own question, letmebeyourlandlord@gmail.com. Letmebeyourlandlord@gmail.com. Don't be bashful. Bob, as you see, answers every question unvarnished. He doesn't get to see them beforehand. News item from the New Haven Register that made me think about you. The City of Shelton's zoning department aggressively closing out commercial business issues. Zoning officials say they will have increased site visits to large developments to ensure current and upcoming projects are properly maintained. How do you, as the largest developer, stay on top of stuff like this?
Oh, we have an arm, that's all we do. Amy, once every 3 or 4 months, we'll go through every building with the maintenance people, the cleaning people. They do a checklist of the elevators being kept clean, bathrooms. Some of the medical buildings, we have to clean the bathrooms twice a day instead of once a day because they get so much use. But, we're very focused on that type of image. I mean, one girl once said to me, I know I was in Cinto building because it was so clean. So that's how you do it. Details.
Because in this article, some of the issues were with like the size or the scope of LED signage, places where bins are set up. And I guess I just wonder, because it is important, does someone from the city zoning let you guys know when ordinances are changed, or you are in touch with them, or is it a
reciprocal thing? If they need something done, we do it. If the town asks us to do something, if they tell us to jump, we ask how high in the air do you want us to jump, and how long would you like us to stay in the air? Okay. We do whatever we're asked. I mean, I think you ask any inspector, any place. We don't give anyone any problems, period.
You mentioned the Labor Day party, and again, we hate to rush summer along, but I wondered, have the R.D. Cinto future tenant T-shirts been printed?
I don't know that. That's a detail I'll find out for you for the next meeting.
You're looking forward to the party?
Sure. We give out those T-shirts at the carnival, not at the party.
Okay. Let me be your landlord at gmail.com. We appreciate these questions, and we look forward to hearing what people have for us on the next episode.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.